Hi there folks, welcome back to Mossy Roots Farm. So we're doing our gardening series for a little bit here. I know it's the end of the year and that is not exactly when folks want to be looking at garden stuff, but it is the time when folks want to be thinking about planting gardens for next year, especially if they're going to be building raised beds. This is all about raised beds and a farm cat. So why would you want to do a raised bed when you could just dig into the dirt? Well, first of all, my wife's grandmother was elderly and was not able to get on her hands and knees to do a garden. If you build these more narrow, or even with a chair, a seat on the edge, or if you have one of those, I've seen them, a garden stool that rolls around on the ground, you can then sit down, reach over your bed, and you can do all your gardening from the side. And you know, let's say your left side hurts, you can switch to your right side. Well, that's why you might want to do a raised bed. The other reason you might want to do a raised bed is, you know, your cul-de-sac is in something, or your house, I should say, is on some dirt that you don't want to grow in. You don't want your plants growing in. So let's say, for example, your land used to be a dump. You know, it used to be a landfill. Let's say your land is right by a river and it might flood. Let's say your land is on, or had a bunch of pesticides sprayed on it. Let's say it was an old farm field. You know, you might not want to grow right in that grass or in that soil, so you bring in your own soil. You know, there's all kinds of different reasons why you would want to do a raised bed. And honestly, you could put this up against a fence. Like, let's take our fence over here. You could put these right up against a fence like that, make it half as deep so that you don't have to worry about it. And then you've got a raised bed that goes the entire length of your property line or your fence line. Wow, those things are yelling over there. Then you've got a garden that goes all the way around your fence. So there's another thing you could do. You could also do raised beds on a deck. Let's say that you live on the second story of something. You can build smaller raised beds. I don't know if I don't have an example to show you, but if you build a smaller raised bed, you know, that was just like that wide, let's just say, you know, it's what, 6 inches wide or so? It's like 6 inches wide. Then you put a board in the middle and 6 inches wide, and then you could put that on a balcony. You could put that on a staircase. You could put that on whatever you've got available. You know, if you've got a concrete block wall, you could put it sitting on top of that. So you've got a little baby garden. These raised beds is what I'll call them. Is probably one of the quickest and easiest ways to do gardening, period. The only thing that would be quicker is pots, because you could literally put a single pot in like a corner of your room or something, and with a window, and you could have a garden technically. A lot of folks will do that for like seasonings and stuff, like thyme or dill or oregano or whatever. But all about raised beds. So, and the beautiful thing about this is all of this wood was scrap wood that we had laying around from various farm projects. I could not tell you what any of this wood was actually used for prior. I just know we had it laying in the barn. It wasn't the best wood in the world, and we used it. Now, yes, I had this stuff laying around, but I know you guys can get on Craigslist, Facebook Marketplace, or even just ask a neighbor. They might have a really warped piece of 2x4 that they'd let you have for free. And so what if it's not straight? It's a raised bed, right? You're going to put dirt in it, and you're going to grow things in it, you know? So these are really great, I think, as a mid-level gardening thing. You could do it as a starting out deal. You know, you could have a single little bed like this, and you could start out with some turnips or beets or whatever you wanted to start out with. You know, it wouldn't be a big deal. But you could do that. You could start out with a garden like that, but that's usually a little harder because you got soil to work with or mulch or whatever it is you're going to do. But I feel like this is a good way to get started. You can build it however you like. Let's say you wanted to do pumpkins, right? Well, with a pumpkin plant, you would probably want a smaller bed like this, because with a pumpkin, your roots are here and then it just goes like crazy. So if you wanted a pumpkin, you could put this out in the middle of your yard, and then the pumpkin could slowly croach its way around, but the main root system would be in your soil that you put in here, that has all the nutrients you put in here and all of that stuff. So that is definitely something that you could do. But anyways, guys, that is my I'll say my mid-level gardening video, my raised bed video of how you could start out gardening with some raised beds, with some useless reclaimed old wood and some nails or some screws or whatever you had laying around. But thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.